Hello dear students, good morning. This is Professor S.B. Bhendigeri, Department of Economics, taking online classes for PUC first year commerce students. Dear students, in the last class we have understood how to calculate frequency distribution on the basis of exclusive method, inclusive method and unequal method. Okay. Now in today's class, let us understand one more important topic relating to that organization of data, that is calculation of tally marking. My dear students, it is most important question for the examination. Try to understand very systematically, very easy question to understand. If you are looking at the slide, you are able to understand what is there in that. This is a clear picture of tally marking calculation. Okay. The data is given in the question paper for this particular question. According to that data, you have to calculate tally marking. Okay, you have to prepare a table related to tally marking. Okay, I have taken the same example of students' marks in mathematics of 100 students. Same data I have used over here. Whatever data I used in the earlier calculation for frequency calculation, okay, with the help of exclusive, inclusive and unequal method. Same data I have referred over here. Try to understand. Calculation of tally marking requires these 5 important columns over here. First column consists, for example, class mark, class limit, for example, okay, class limit. Second column consists of total number of observations in each class limit. Okay. Third column is of tally marking, and fourth is of frequency. How many frequencies are there? Means how many observations are there in the, for example, in that particular class limit. And last one is class mark. You know how to calculate class mark. I have explained it in the last calculation. Class mark is to be calculated with the help of taking the lower limit and upper limit, the total sum of lower limit and upper limit divided by 2, for example. Here the lower limit of the first class interval is 0. Upper limit of the same class interval is 10. Okay. So 0 plus 10 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That is class mark. Okay. In that class mark, you refer textbook for this particular calculation part. For that data information, keep your data information aside and open this slide. Look at the data information and again at the slide, for example, you are able to understand. Between 0 to 10 class interval, how many observations are there? 0, 1, only one observation is there. Okay. You may ask the question why 10 is not there. This tally marking calculation is prepared on the basis of exclusive method. Because of that, in exclusive method, the upper limit of the first class interval is not taken into account. It is not comes under the calculation. Okay. So because of that, between 0 to 10 class limit, for example, only one observation is there, that is 0. If only one observation is there, you have to put 0 in the observation column, and in the tally marking column you put one tally. For example, symbol of tally, for example. In the frequency column you put 1, because you know why it is 1. Only one observation is there in the 0 to 10 class interval, that you have to mention. Then class mark is 5. Okay. Look at this. Class mark is 5 over here, and only one frequency is there, and only one tally is there. Okay. Come to the second one. In the second class interval, it starts between, it is in between 10 to 20. The lower limit of this second class interval is 10, and upper limit is 20. Here 10 is included because in the second class interval 10 is in the lower class. Okay, it is not included in the first interval because 10 is there in the upper class. Okay, so in between 10 to 20 class interval, how many observations are there? Look at the data again in the textbook. There are 8 observations. Between 10 to 20 there are 8 observations: 10, 14, 17, 12, 14, 12, 14, 14, like that. Okay, this column. Okay, total there are 8 observations. If there are 8 observations, you have to mention all those observations in the observation column. And coming to the tally marking column, in the tally marking, one thing you have to understand, for every 5 observations you have to put one tally bar. Look at the tally bar over there. This is the tally bar. Okay, for every 5 observations you have to put one tally bar. Okay, one tally bar consists of 5 observations. Okay, so in the first tally bar there are 5 observations, and remaining 3 I have mentioned again, 3 lines over there. Okay, so total number of frequencies are 8 in the 10 to 20 class interval. I hope you understood, my dear students. This is, sorry, here it is 7 observations are there. 8 observations. For every 5 observations you have to mention one tally bar which includes 5 observations. Okay, so 5 plus 3, total number of frequencies in that class interval between 10 to 20 is 8. For example, 8 observations are there. You have to put 8 in the frequency column. And you know why class mark is 15 there? Look at the class interval, that is 10 to 20 here. Okay, second class interval is 10 to 20. 10 plus 20 is 30. 30 divided by 2 is 15 is the class mark. Okay, coming to the third one. The third class interval is, for example, 20 to 30. In that class interval, look at the slide, how many observations are there? There are total of 6 observations. 25, 25, 20, 22, 25, 28. So there are total of 6 observations. You have to write all the observations in that observation column if it is a tally marking question in the examination. Okay, you have to write all those observations, and again come to the tally marking column. If there are total of 6 observations, you have to put one tally bar there because these observations are more than 5 here. Okay, so for 5 observations you have to put one tally bar. Okay, so here it is, one tally bar I shown, and remaining one you have to put again one mark. For example, total number of frequencies are 6 in that particular class interval. Look at the 34, for example, 40 class interval. There are total of 7 observations: 30, 37, 34, 39, 32, 38 and 35. For those 7 observations, in the tally marking column, you have to put one tally bar which includes 5 observations and 2 again lines for showing another 2, and total of 7 frequencies are falling between 30 to 40 class interval. Okay, look at the next class interval which is lying between 40 to 50. Again you have to refer the textbook for data information of students' marks in mathematics for 100 students. Okay, I have taken the same example for your understanding. Okay, and you may prepare your own, for example, data information to prepare one more tally marking question. Okay, so between 40 to 50, there are total of 21 observations, dear students. Okay, 47, 42, 49, 49, 45, 45, 47, like that 21 observations are there. In the tally marking question, again you have to understand very systematically. For 20 observations, you have to put 4 tally bars. Each tally bar consists of 5 observations. Okay, each tally bar consists of 5 observations. Okay, like that you have to put 4 tally bars and one single line for 21 frequencies, 21 observations which are lying between 40 to 50 class interval. Like that, go to 50 to 60 class interval, there are 23 observations. You have to write all those observations. If you commit any small mistakes, if you left with any, for example, observations, your entire answer will be wrong at the end. So put maximum, for example, patience over here. You have to pay maximum patience while writing observations in that observation column. Your observations must be tally with tally marking and frequencies. Okay, if any mistakes done in that observation column, tally marking and frequency, your entire answer will be wrong. Okay, I hope you understood. So in between 15 to 60 class interval, there are total of 23 observations. For 23, what to do in the tally marking? You have to prepare 4 tally bars which consists of 20 observations, and after that 3 additional observations. So total of 23 observations are there in the 50 to 60 class interval. Look at the 60 to 70 class interval, there are 19 observations. You have to write all those 19 observations in the second column, in the observation column. Okay, and in the tally marking, you have to put 3 tally bars for 15 observations and again remaining 4. Okay, so total of 19 observations fall in between 60 to 70 class interval. Look at the next one, 70 to 80, there are 6 observations. 80 to 90, there are 5 observations. 90 to 100, there are 4 observations. At the end, one thing you have to understand very systematically, my dear students, your observations must be tally with the number of figures, number of marks given in that data information. Okay, I hope you understood. How many, for example, observations are given in the question paper, that must be tally with your answer. Look at the tally marking column again. If you are calculating, the total sum of all these tallies must be equal to the total number of observations. Look at the frequency. The total number of frequencies must be equal to the total number of tally marking and observations. If any mistakes done over there, your entire answer will be wrong. At the end, the observations, the tally marking, the frequencies must be equal. Okay, suppose if your observations are 99, if your tally marking is 100, if your frequency is 98, for example, your answer will be wrong. So take utmost care while writing the observations in the observation column, and simultaneously you have to make tally marking and frequencies for that particular question. If you have done this systematic table in the examination, you will be given out of 8 marks for this particular question. Okay, so I hope you understood, my dear students. This is all about the calculation of tally marking. Okay, now look at the diagrammatic presentation of frequency distribution. They may ask, explain the tally marking calculation with the help of diagram. They may ask both calculation and diagram. Look at the diagram. On OY axis, okay, on OY axis, we have mentioned the total number of frequencies. Okay, and here it is on OX axis, again the total of marks. Okay, we have mentioned. Look at the diagram here. In the first instance, in the first class interval 0 to 10, I said in the beginning there is only one observation, that is 0. Okay, look at that. Here that point is showing. Okay, in the beginning there is only one observation, and again in the second class interval there are 8 observations. Look at the diagram. It shows over here 8 observations in the second class interval. Okay, I hope you understood, between 10 to 20. In the third class interval there are 6 observations. Again it has come down here, 6 observations. Again in the next class interval there are 7 observations. In the fifth class interval there are 21 observations, my dear students. It is showing over here. 21 observations are there. As data information you are collected, you have to mention those data with the help of diagram. And in the next observation there are 23 observations. In the next class interval there are 23 observations. Look at this point. Total number of observations in that class interval is 23 observations. And after 23 there are 19 observations. Look at that point. This equilibrium point shows 19 observations. After 19, in 70 to 80 class interval there are 6 observations. Okay, here it is. There are 6 observations. After that there are 5 observations. Here it is. And last one is 4. Okay, so these are the total number of frequencies in that tally marking. They may ask the same question with the help of diagram also. Okay, if there is a diagrammatical question, you have to draw this diagram systematically. I hope you understood, my dear students. This is all about the calculation of tally marking. Okay, now one more question, very interesting question. Look at the question. Read that question. Prepare a frequency distribution by inclusive method taking class interval of 7 from the following data. They are giving the data and also class interval limit. They have given the 7 over there. Okay. If 7 is given, what to do? You have to understand over here. First you have to count the total number of frequencies. There are 60 frequencies. Okay. Whatever data information given in the question paper, accordingly you have to calculate. Here, according to this calculation, there are 60 frequencies. Okay. For 60 frequencies, how to prepare class interval is the main important aspect. You have to understand how to prepare the class interval. The class interval is 7. It is given very clearly in the question. If class interval is 7, automatically what you have to do is, you have to search the minimum observation in the data. Okay, I hope you understood. You have to search the minimum lowest observation in the data. The lowest observation is how much? That is 1. Okay, the lowest observation is 1, for example. If it is 1, you have to start the class interval with 1 to 7. You know why it is 1? 1 is the lowest, or for example, lower class interval means lower observation, lowest observation in the data information, and 7 is given as it is given already in the question. You have to prepare the class interval like this. If 7 is given, immediately you have to search the lowest observation in the data information, that is 1. So if it is 1, class interval will be begins with 1 to 7. 1 is lowest observation, 7 is which is given in the question paper. Okay, 1 to 7. So your class interval is begins. So here what happens? They have mentioned very clear in the question. Inclusive method you have to follow. Not exclusive, not unequal. If the question is of inclusive method, you have to prepare class interval according to inclusive method only. Okay. So in the first class interval, that is 1 to 7. Look at the second class interval, you have to focus on that. If it is inclusive method, your second class interval is begins with 8 to 14. Okay. Your upper class limit will be 7 on the 7 table. It is as good as 7 on the 7 table. And lower class limit, you have to take care of lower class limit. Once your class interval starts with 1 to 7 in inclusive method, if it is inclusive method, second class interval must be begins with 8 to 14. Third one is after 14, 15 to 21. After 21, 22 to 28. Okay. I hope you understood, my dear students. In the inclusive method of frequency distribution calculation, the upper limit of the first class interval is taking into account. And okay, in the second class interval, the lower limit of the second class interval is taken into account, and 14 also taking. Okay, so both are taking over here in the inclusive method. Okay, in the exclusive method, the upper class limit of the first class interval is not included in the class frequency. If it is inclusive method, the upper class limit of the first class interval is included. Okay, that you have to understand very systematically. This is a very tricky question to understand. Very systematically, you have to understand question first. If you are having any doubts, try to understand, try to put your doubts in the comment box, and you may solve your questions. Okay. So try to understand very systematically. Class limit is, class interval is, starts with 1 to 7, 8 to 14, 15 to 21, 22 to 28, like that. Last is 36 to 37. So 37 will be the last, highest, the maximum, for example, observation. It is there in the data information. Okay, you have to take the upper limit of the last class interval, always the last observation, the highest observation in the data information. Okay, so here 37 is there here. Where is that 37? Look at this. This is the 37. 37 here. So 37 you have to take the last, in the last class interval as upper limit. Now coming to the second column, between 1 to 7, how many frequencies are there? You have to include 7 also in that. Okay, 1 to 7 there are 15 frequencies. Find out that frequencies. There are 15 frequencies between 1 to 7 inclusive class method. Inclusive method class of interval. Okay, and in the second class interval between 8 to 14 there are 12 observations. There are 12 frequencies. And in the third class interval 15 to 21 there are 15, for example, frequencies. In the fourth there are 10 observations. In the fifth there are 6 frequencies. In the last class interval between 36 to 37 there are only 2 observations. Okay, 2 means one is 36, this is 37, and one more is 36 for example. Okay, look at the data. One is 37 and here it is 36. Okay, 36 and 37 are the two observations, two frequencies between 36 to 37 class interval. And again you have to understand, these frequencies, the total number of frequencies must be equal to the total number of data information given in the question paper. Okay, if it is more or less, your answer will be wrong. Okay, frequencies must be equal to the total number of observations given in the question paper. If it is possible, you can write lower limit and upper limit and class mark also for that question, if time permits. Okay, so between 1 to 7, which is the lower limit? 1 is the lower limit and the upper limit will be 7. Okay, you know why it is 7? 7 is given in the question paper. And class mark is 4. You know why? So 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Like that, lower limit in the second class interval is 8. It is 15 in the third. It is 22 in the fourth. It is 29 in the fifth. And it is 36 in the sixth class interval. Okay, I hope you understood, my dear students. This is about preparing a frequency distribution by inclusive method, taking class interval of 7 from the following data. Data is also given and the class interval also given in the question paper, and they are clearly mentioned. You have to calculate this frequency distribution with the help of inclusive method. If you wrongly calculate this frequency distribution with the help of exclusive method, your answer will be wrong. Okay, with this let us stop today's discussion. Remaining part we shall discuss in the next class.